My name's Robby. I'm running for U.S. Congress. As I've gotten out and gotten to talk with the folks, I've noticed that I get a lot of great questions. And so we're putting on this so I can have folks on and they can ask me any questions they have about the U.S. government. And we take those questions and try to come up with the best answers we can and have a discussion. So today I have Mark here with me. Mark, you want to tell us a little something about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mark Ruiz. I am 34 years old. I've lived in Sacramento for about 17 years now, and excited to. Thanks for having me.
Sweet. All right, so you submitted some questions for us. Should we just let it rock? You want to hit me with the first one?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so every time we get a paycheck, we lose a lot of money from that paycheck due to taxes, federal taxes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the year, I still have to pay.
Okay.
And just curious to hear your thoughts on how do I owe the government money when they already take all my money?
They're taking all your money every check, and you're like, okay, I should be good to go. At the end of the year, you're still getting hit with another bill.
Yeah.
It's like, what gives? Okay. So you can go a lot of ways with this question, right? So the first way that I thought to try to tackle this was, if they're already hit, like, shouldn't it be one way or the other? Like, they're taking monthly, or they're taking every paycheck.
Right.
But then they're still hitting you in the end of the year. Like, why aren't we doing one of those two things?
Right.
Okay. So there's a few things about that. One, you can adjust that. You can adjust like your deductible so that maybe they take more out per paycheck, and then you don't get hit with a bill at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Debatable whether or not you should. I think to some degree you're giving the government more money. If you give them more per paycheck, it's just like more than you owe them. It's a free loan to the government, and why would you do that, right? So to some degree, you kind of want to pay more at the end of the year, a little bit. But that's one way to look at it.
Okay.
I started to think about it structurally, though. Like, why are you paying monthly, and at the end of the year, why does our government do that? And so we took a look at what other countries do, like other use cases.
Okay.
And so we looked at, I think it was like Spain and Sweden, and they do something called like a pre-filled tax form. And so at the end of the year, when you have to pay taxes, they actually just send you the form entirely filled out, because they're the government. They know what you made and what you owe them. And so you just get to go in and say, oh yeah, this is right, which is what 99% of people do, or no, there's something we can edit, and submit that back to them, okay? So that's, I think, probably a much better methodology.
I agree 100%.
Right?
If they know how much I owe, why do I have to fill out? Why do I have to go to an accountant and fill all this stuff out?
Yeah, it's so silly, right? It's like the government they already know everything about you, so why are we playing this game, right?
100%.
Okay, so then that kind of gets into the bigger conversation of, okay, if the government knows everything, why are we playing this game? And then it comes back into the same places where you might be able to guess, right? We're playing the game because someone's getting paid off of it, right? So there's paid tax preparers, there's like the rich folk, the like 1%, if you will, who are using the gray area of the tax code to try to weasel out of paying their fair share. And so we certainly could, and I would argue probably should, move towards a simplified tax code where, like, we already know what you owe. We're just going to tell you what that is, and you pay for it. We call it a day.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like the simplest version of trying to go at why do you pay monthly and then pay at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, these countries that implement that, seem happy.
Yeah, and they're not like they're not that much different than us, right? These are Western countries. They're not doing crazy stuff. And there are other methodologies too. As we looked into it, there's other methods for how you can do a tax system. Almost none of them do it the way we do. And so, like, when I put my thinking cap on, that makes me go like, I wonder why we do it the way we do. It's because someone is making money off of it. It's like it's always special interests. It's people coming in and pouring money into a system to convince lawmakers that this is the better way. But it really probably just screws you.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I agree.
that's why.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I live in Midtown.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Parking meters everywhere. Parking's a nightmare. Year ago, I was paying $2 an hour. It recently went up to $3 an hour.
Yeah.
And they have the meters rolling on Sundays. Just curious as to Sundays used to be free. Meters used to end at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's until 10 p.m. I got to move my car every 2 hours. Otherwise, I get a $72 ticket.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Just want to hear your thoughts.
These are very specific numbers, so I feel like this is, these by heart.
Yes.
Okay. Did you recently get a $72 ticket?
Multiple times.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you, do you have an intuition as to why this happened?
Why I got a ticket?
No, we know why you got a ticket. Why do you think that the price of parking went up? Because, okay, so...
I have a theory.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this question. I'm running for Congress, so I don't know the city stuff that well, but I live in Midtown too. So I was thinking about the parking, and so I was just wondering, like, as just a normal guy on the streets, why do you think that the parking rate went up?
Well, there was a huge push to return to office back in July 2024.
Yeah.
Maybe 2025.
Sure.
That got pushed back a year. So I think they were trying to capitalize and say, hey, we're going to have 50,000 state workers or however many workers there are come back downtown. If we put parking to 3 instead of 2, we can make a quick buck off them.
Okay, you think the city was trying to squeeze more money out of the state workers coming back?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
that's just my theory. I don't know.
Totally might be true. We'll write a letter to our council people and toss them that theory. Okay, so we looked into this, like the stated reason why they did it. It's relatively simple, but something that I think a lot of people maybe in Sacramento aren't super aware of. The city of Sac doesn't have enough money. It's like it's one of those things where it is that simple. Like the city of Sac is running what they call a structural deficit. Okay, right. So they're right now sitting at $65 million in the hole, and what they mean by a structural deficit is that the expenses exceed the income permanently. So it's not like a one-time situation. It's going to keep happening until they do something about it. And so they've done a lot to try to solve it. Last year, or I don't know if it was last year, but the last cycle of this problem, they were there was a lot of news out because they were very proud that they did it without layoffs. This one's looking a little rougher. They haven't said they're going to lay anyone off. But that is, I'd say, high on their list of actions they can take to increase revenue. So, like, let's just increase parking. Yeah. And I tried to look it up too. It went through like a consent schedule, meaning that the council doesn't necessarily take a vote on it. So you don't really know where the different council people like ended up on the vote. They just kind of unanimously pushed it through. But your parking went up because the city doesn't have enough money to pay its bills, and they thought that they could, I don't think they thought that they would come up with all the money, but they wanted to come up with some of the money through increased parking revenue. Because I thought, before I looked into it, I thought maybe they sold it to a private company. There's cities around the country that will sell the rights to their parking privileges or whatever to a private company, and then they get paid over time. Okay. The city of Sac still has it. They still own it. They just decided, we'll take this thing up to $3. It's, as you described, not the most popular idea in the world.
Yeah, and I mean, have you seen the meters in Midtown, downtown lately?
Sure.
There's no more coins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're all card.
Yeah. All card, or you get to download the
little app. Yeah.
So that rare time I do have quarters.
Yeah.
Gotta use my card or use my app.
Yeah. So the great news is when you got a $72 ticket, you were helping getting the city out of a bind. You just need to get like I don't know, 1 million more tickets.
I'm fighting that ticket. I got it wrongfully. I was wrongfully given a ticket.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. So the short answer. You're paying more because the city's out of money and they're trying to find ways to generate revenue. They're looking at other things. I saw that they were recently posting about trying to increase the business tax, which is interesting. There's generally a climate where people don't want their taxes raised. But I think everyone in Sacramento is going to have to deal with it in one way or the other because the city just doesn't have money. So you're going to pay for it either in parking or taxes or reduced services. It's just like it's just about like a P&L type of game. They gotta balance the budget in some fashion.
Right. So, and I know this is still city related, but if they tell me not to park on Monday between 8 to 9, from city services.
Yeah.
But there's no city services being done.
Yeah, I don't know. So you asked why can't I park on Sundays? It's the same thing, right? Like they're just trying to squeeze revenue out of you. So that's the answer. Is they kind of, I don't know if they want you to get a ticket. They really just want the $3 an hour or whatever. But that's the problem there. Why they tell you not to park there and then don't have cities? I have no clue. Yeah.
I'm gonna write a letter.
We'd have to look into it. Yeah. We'll do this again. You can tell me after you write your letter why they're increasing the cost. You should ask. Just write them a letter and be like, hey, how do you guys plan on coming up with the other 64,999
in your structural deficit?
In your structural deficit, yeah. Be like, I submitted my $72. Let me know how you're coming up with the other $64 million. All right, fair enough. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I used to live in Midtown.
Okay.
Right?
You still live in Midtown.
That's true.
Yeah.
So 2016, my 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square foot apartment was $800 a month.
Okay.
With utilities, probably $900.
Yeah.
Let's say $900 all in.
Okay.
That same apartment, I looked on Zillow. Can you take a guess how much it is?
A lot.
It's $1,885.
$1,885.
Maybe they put a new fridge in, maybe a new stove.
Okay.
Same location, same building.
That new stove, though.
The new stove.
Got to be worth a lot.
It's Whirlpool, I think. But curious to hear your thoughts,
Okay. So you're basically like, why is my rent so high?
Yeah.
The rent is too damn high is what you're coming at me with?
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the question is why are rents so high? Don't want to surprise you. Really complicated question with a lot of different problems that are folding into that issue. Okay, but one of the key drivers, I think, come from a supply and demand problem. So over the last 50 years, we have had more people in California than we've had housing. And so I really think the moment where you're feeling it now and saying oh man, housing's way too expensive, whether that's buying a house or renting a house, it's a slowly then all at once problem, meaning that this problem has been building up for a very long time, and it just eventually will hit a tipping point where now you go, what the heck happened? $1,800 is an insane rise in just a few years' time, right? Okay, so I think that we looked at a bunch of different things that contribute to it, because I was curious, maybe we know housing's a national issue, but just for this specific scenario, I want to say let's look at all the factors, right? Because some other things that maybe could contribute to housing prices increases, maybe a bunch of population moved into Sacramento. That hasn't happened, right? Or maybe we've built nothing, no new housing units. We have built some housing units. And so what's really driving it is just a structural deficit. You like that callback?
That's a good callback.
We have a structural deficit of how many homes we're building on a yearly basis and how many people want homes. And so if you get it, if there's a thing that a lot of people want and there's not a lot of that thing, prices go up pretty dramatically.
Right.
Yeah. And so we looked at, I can pull up the source and edit it in or something like that, but there's a lot of great reporting and data as to how short we actually are. It's a little scary, but one source puts California at large in about a 1.3 million home deficit. A lot of homes. There's about 14 million homes in California in total. So being short 1.3 is a significant percentage that we need to increase. And so, that's one of the things, it's the main thing that I'm focusing on when I'm running for Congress is how do we increase the supply of housing so that we can pull down the cost, certainly to go buy a home, but that has other effects too, like in the rental market. When no one can afford to buy a home, more people are renting, you're straining the rental market. That's, a long rant of why generally rents are much higher now than you would have expected them to clip up.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think there was a massive influx of people from like the COVID time, like 2020? Do you think people from the Bay Area moved here? Because I think before COVID there was like not that much traffic. Now it's like everywhere you go is gridlocked. It's like
okay. Yeah, there. That like housing data that I looked at, it does let you break it down by city or zip code. So I looked at the greater Sacramento area. Like Sacramento specifically is about 80,000 homes short of its target. And one thing to mention as we go into that data is that a lot of nonprofits or housing advocates, it focuses on low-income housing. And so when I say California is 1.3 million homes short, or Sacramento is 80,000 homes short, that's because that's where I can find data, but that's low-income housing. So that's not talking about, well, honestly, like someone like you, just like a middle-income, normal wage earner, those housing units aren't even in the statistic. And so when you think about 80,000 homes short in Sacramento, it's probably double that if you talk about maybe people in middle income who aren't in danger of being put out on the street, but aren't able to go find the housing that they desire, or maybe they are renters when they want to be homeowners or something like that. There's a much bigger demand than just what 80,000 would suggest, which is crazy because 80,000 is a large number of houses that were short. Yeah. So I think for me, when I hear those numbers, that very clearly like sets up a path where we're like, we are not building, we're not bringing on housing at a rate that we could. And that's why it's expensive. Yeah. If you own a home, you have an asset that a lot of people want, there's not enough of, and so you're probably going to rack the price up for that. So
100%.
yeah, that's how I think about, that's some of the things that scare me about housing and what is currently going on.
Nice.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right, fair enough. There's other things I was looking at are that like asking the data, some of the data also talks about like asking rents, which is very specifically what you're talking about. So like asking rents over the last, I think it was just since 2019, kind of the COVID period, like that's gone up 24%. Oh, wow. That's not even looking at 2016 when you first were talking about it. So yeah, there's a dramatic price increase. I think it's a massive problem that we need our politicians all up and down, city council, your state assembly, certainly your Congress people need to like address that as I would say the crisis that it is, right? Because most people's wages have not increased at that rate. So you end up in a really tricky situation for a lot of Americans.
Yep. So why is health insurance tied to my job?
Okay, yeah. So this was an interesting one. Do you have any idea why it might be tied to your job?
I don't. I just know that I pay a lot,
Yeah. Okay, so when you sent that over to me, I didn't know either. And so I was super curious. I was like, why is it tied? Because there's probably some reason or rationale as to why it's tied to your job, and I had no clue what it was. World War II. Okay, so the truth is it's actually because of World War II. Mostly because there wasn't a lot of organized medicine before then. But two main things happened during World War II that would cause employers to want to take over health insurance. Certainly like more modernized medicine and it becomes available and stuff like that. And there were some organizations pre-World War II that did it. But what we found were that the US government put in wage controls, basically. So, World War II, slightly bigger wars than the ones that you and I have lived through. And it like consumed the country, so they need to make sure that people were still working in factories, but their costs, like their wages weren't skyrocketing, right? And so they put in wage controls and said, you're not allowed to pay people more. And so if you're a business owner and you need to attract employees and talent, and you're not allowed to do it with wages, what do you do it with?
Healthcare.
Yeah. So that's what employers did. It's really kind of the start of benefits packages, if you will. And so employers start offering healthcare, and then a little bit later, because they're offering healthcare, the Congress starts putting into tax codes paybacks for employers for offering healthcare. So now there was a reason for them to offer it, and it helped them with their taxes to do so. Okay, so that's kind of what starts the wheel turning on why we would now be in a system where your health insurance is tied to your employer. However, now we end up in 2025. We're not in World War II, and I think we can increase wages, although we haven't seen that much. And so, this is where I start thinking about what type of healthcare system do we actually want? And I do think having a healthcare system that's universal, that takes care of all of us, and isn't tied to an employer would be a really wise decision for the Congress to take. And I'm a small business owner. We're sitting in my manufacturing shop. I think it would benefit a lot of small businesses to not have health insurance tied because health insurance, as it turns out, is expensive. And so if you're a small business and you're trying to grow and you want to attract talent, healthcare is a large cost that can be hard to kind of get started. And so it provides a huge moat or benefit to large companies like an Amazon or what have you that instantly offer benefits, gives them a large structural advantage over small companies. And so I actually think even a bit of a different perspective, but as a small business owner, I think it would be really wise for us to take a look at, should we still have our health insurance tied to our employers, or is there a better way?
Right.
It probably is, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you mentioned it was implemented back in World War II.
Yeah.
We're not there anymore.
Doesn't really make sense. And that's just I guess sticking down the employer perspective, but there's obviously a lot of benefits to the employee as well. Having your benefits tied to your workplace makes it so that you're unable to go. A lot of times you can be handcuffed, right? Mm-hmm. In the fact that I'd really love to go take that other job, or maybe it pays slightly more, but I got these healthcare benefits. I don't want to lose my health coverage.
Exactly.
That feels like a pre-World War II. That feels like a really weird, don't leave my company, or don't go get a better job, or else you might get sick and die. It's a really weird way for us to operate the marketplace.
Yeah,
right?
I think we're just used to it because that's all we know.
Yeah, it is one of those things where we're just used to it, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think that's one of the cool things about looking into the structure of some of these questions, is that idea, looking and seeing when did this come about and why? Because before World War II, this wasn't the way it was. Well, so there weren't doctors really, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be this way, and we can, I think, come up with better ways to take care of our people. Yeah. All right. Cool. So with that, anything else on this?
No.
All right.
It's good to know.
I think we got one more. You want to let it rip?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we get money out of politics?
Okay. Yeah. When you think, I want to structure this a little bit. What money is bad in politics to you? What do you think?
I don't know, bribery, I guess.
Bribery? Okay. I don't think bribery is legal. So I think we might, with our current administration, it might be legal now. I think we're taking a step back. But I do think there's something to be said about when we think about a lot of the questions you've already asked, maybe not the parking meters, but certainly when we think about the tax code or something like that, right. It's driven by special interests. And so when I think about trying to get money out of politics, I think about how can we have legislatures who are focused on trying to build a country that works for you, right. For the average person, right? As opposed to creating weird rules that establish businesses that don't need to exist. Instead, we should try to have businesses that actually do something productive. And so, it's a big question. I think there's obvious answers. like allowing companies unfettered donations into political, like super PACs, right? Probably not the best idea, and we could come up with a better way. There is going the full spectrum. You can go into like publicly financing campaigns, meaning that we use tax dollars to pay for campaigns and everyone gets the same dollar amount. And then you can't take out like a bunch of private money from large corporations. That would be like one, maybe a slightly dramatic proposal, but like that's one way that you could try to isolate elected officials from money. You could also, not allow them to take planes from foreign countries. I think that might be wise. And I do think that, something that's starting to get a lot of traction is stopping Congress people from trading stocks, because there's a lot of insider trading, right? Where very clearly, like, Nancy Pelosi is one of the most successful stock traders that we've ever seen.
She might know some stuff.
Shout out. Yeah, it's an incredible run, and I can't fathom how she does it. But yeah, I think, creating a system where the legislatures have access to the funds they need to do their job properly, right? Whether that's campaigning or running the government, and then isolating them from the other sources of money would probably do well to keep our system off the rails. So that's kind of where my mind goes when I think about keeping money out of politics. Nice. Yeah, but we can do bribes. We can get bribes going again if you want. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that was it.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for taking the time to come out and talk with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Handshake. I love it.